IVM.
We at IVM like rewards, and we hate being late. With Cred, never make a late credit card payment again. Cred reminds you when your due date is approaching and looks for hidden charges on your bill so you can never be taken advantage of again. All these amazing features only on the Cred app. So what are you waiting for? Just download Cred. Alright, welcome to another awesome episode of IVM Likes. I'm your host, Antariksh. Joining me on this episode are my co-producer, Jalasmi. Jalasmi, say hi.
Hello.
And beloved IVM's beloved sound engineer, Deep Singh. Deep, how are you, man?
I'm just doing fine. How are you, Antariksh?
All perfect, dude. Thank you so much for joining me, guys, on this episode. If you are joining us for the first time on an episode of IVM Likes, thank you so much for joining us. How our typical episode of this show works is in the first half, we give you guys some awesome recommendations to something that we have either recently checked out or are watching right now. And so that's coming up in the first half. And in the second half, we usually talk about something from a more pop culture, like a more pop culturally relevant topic. And on this episode, because the movie Ajeeb Dastans just released, and that's kind of an anthology film, what we thought we would do is we would talk about other anthology films and what we think of them and what our favorites are and so on and so forth. So that's coming up in the second half. Please wait around for that. Let's start with the recommendation round. Deep, would you like to start us off with your recommendation, buddy?
Yeah, sure. I recently bumped into this YouTube channel called Dorkly. It's like dork and more waving in a very dorky way. So this channel is called Dorkly. It's Dorkly. So if anybody is a 90s kid like me and had and was playing with NES and Nintendos and all those analog video games, so they might have bumped into those Mortal Kombat video games and Ninja Turtle video games, Contra and all those stuff. So this YouTube channel actually does is this guy takes these analog video games or the 16 bits 8 bits video game and makes a spoof out of them, like a meme out of them, where let's say take Mortal Kombat, in which the most famous characters are like Scorpion and Sub-Zero. So he'll take a scene where these two are fighting each other, and when the fatality comes in and Scorpion says, man, I'm really f***ed up about these all things and I'm really tired of doing fatality, and then he does a babality where he turns Sub-Zero into baby, and then he takes him up as his child, and then he brings him up, and that's all. It's actually the most funniest shit I've seen related to all these video games. So yeah, I would definitely suggest people to go and watch Dorkly, this YouTube channel.
Okay, Dorkly. What is the spelling of Dorkly again? D-O-R?
It's D-O-R-K-L-Y.
K-L-Y, Dorkly. Okay, cool. Awesome. Nice. What about you, Jalasmi? What would you like to recommend?
So today I don't have a song, I don't have a movie, but I have a digital news channel. Not even a channel, it's like good articles on that one. It's called The Swaddle. So they talk about health, science, culture, family. And given the pandemic, they are not covering hard news, but there's a lot of features there and some really good stories. Like, for example, there was a story where recently the government of Gujarat, what they did was there was a child who had to miss his engineering. Okay, not child. There was a young guy who had to miss his engineering exams because he was depressed. And the court ruled out that he can give his exams again because in these times, depression is, that can happen to us. So, bringing about stories, these kind of stories is what the channel does.
You mean like mental health kind of related stories?
No, not mental health. I mean, feature stories, human stories, something that your quintessential newspaper won't cover. And they have really good articles. So I think we should definitely check them out.
Okay, cool. Very cool. Sounds very interesting. Yeah, I will check them out. That's the Swaddle. It's a website, is it? Or is it a YouTube channel or something?
Yeah. No, it's a website.
It's a website. All right. Cool. I would like to recommend something, a YouTube channel called Buzzfeed Unsolved Network. Have either of you aware of this? No, I'm assuming you're
I've
not.
heard of it.
You've heard of it? Okay, cool,
No,
awesome.
haven't.
BuzzFeed, we all know BuzzFeed, obviously. We all know BuzzFeed. But what I want to know, what I recently found out is a channel called BuzzFeed Unsolved Network. They talk about basically like unsolved crimes. They talk about like conspiracy theories, like UFOs and ghosts and like ghost sightings, the most haunted places in the world, and all these like proper unsolved crimes through. They talk about it through like written, like pieces that have been written beforehand, like in the sense, some famous person wrote something about it, and so they'll recount their experience of what they wrote or something, and then they like pass commentary on it, and they'll also do like a small animated. So each video, for instance, they say they're talking about the Amityville horror story. Okay, they'll talk about what the Amityville horror story was, like that there was this house which was supposed to be
Is that
haunted.
even a real thing? I thought it's just a movie. Amityville horror.
So Amityville horror is so there have been multiple movies made on this, and it is inspired from supposedly true events. In the sense, they say that there is a house called the Amityville on Amityville Hill or something like that, and that's where the story comes from. That's an actual true thing. Who knows what actually happened? Maybe someone just made it up and someone ran with it, and then they wrote a book about it, and then that got made into a movie. Who knows? But they say that there is such a haunted bungalow that exists or used to exist. I forgot.
What's this page again?
This page is called BuzzFeed Unsolved Network, and they have done like amazing. They did one about Area 51, a video about Area 51. They did one about the history of UFOs. They did one about so the history of UFOs is very interesting. It recounts all the supposed the biggest of the supposed sightings, or there's one video about alien abductions also. All the most probable ones, like the ones that seem to be true, at least. Who knows if they're true at all, but this seem to be true. So some of these videos are great. I've watched quite a few of them, and there's one about the dark side of the royal family, King Edward VIII, which is quite interesting. There's one about the god who ate his children, which is also again a very interesting one. So yeah, go and check this out. It's just a cool, easy watch. BuzzFeed Unsolved Network.
Sounds to me like a Roman mythology. God who ate his son, or maybe
that is. I think. It is about Cronus, right? Do you know the Greek god? The Greek. So before.
Yeah.
So we know the Greek gods. Yes. You know God of War. Hey, hey, buddy, that's awesome. Also, Percy Jackson. If you guys know Percy Jackson, the books.
Yeah, I do.
But yeah, so that comes from that. The god who ate his children is Cronus eating Poseidon and Hades and thinking that he's eating Zeus, but he actually ate like a piece of rock or something that Gaia, his wife, gave him. Anyway, so now that's it for this half of the episode. I guess we all gave some good recommendations. Deep, what was your recommendation?
So my recommendation was a YouTube page. It's called Dorkly.
Okay, Dorkly. And Jalasmi, what's yours?
I recommended a news website called the Swaddle.
All right. And I recommended a YouTube page called BuzzFeed Unsolved Network. And please check these things out. That's it for this half. See you guys on the other side.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We'd like to thank our sponsors on the network this week, Cred, Siet, TheWholeTruthFoods.com, and PayPal. We really do appreciate the support. On Cyrus Says, we discussed quite a bit about the local assembly elections this month. Vasanti Hariprakash was there to talk about the West Bengal elections, and then we also spoke to Pradeep Gupta, a psephologist and author. He's the chairman and MD of Access My India. Do definitely check that episode out. Great conversation. Tune into This Round Is On Me, where Gauri Devi Dayal caught up on the latest trends in the PR industry with Archana Jain from PR Pundit. On The Habit Coach, Ashton Doctor spoke to Anandita Chatterjee. She's the founder of Travel Chatter. She's been a marketer with some large firms and has traveled to 67 countries so far. It was a RuPaul Drag Race fan club on KBCD where Farhad and Sunetro discussed the show's best moments and talents. Amber Rana was joined by celebrity fitness trainer Shivoham on Nyoyer Kanun to discuss fitness laws and regulations in India. They talk about the laws and infrastructure that exist to protect gyms, trainers, and also consumers in the fitness industry. And on the note with Maruk Inayat, we have clinical psychologist and friend of the network, Sonali Gupta. She talks about ongoing mental health issues like survivor's guilt, coping with anxiety around the pandemic, and doom scrolling. And with that, let me get you back to your show.
All right, welcome back to the second half of this episode of IVM Likes. We're going to be talking about our favorite anthology films and what we think about anthology films in general. I'll start off. Firstly, the question I want to ask you guys is, do you guys like watching anthology films? I think it's like a cool way to. See, very often what happens is anthology films are directed by directors who you don't really know, right? Or it's also possible that maybe you know one director and the other three are like, I have no idea who these guys are. So it's a very cool way to find out the stylings of other directors that you may usually not seek their work out, and so it's a cool way to do that. You get to, of course, it's like a little bit of a bang for the buck kind of a thing also. If you're getting 4 stories for the price of 1 and they're all 4 good stories, then that's a great plus. But very rarely does it happen in an anthology film that all 4 or whatever, 5 or 6 even, whatever how many stories there are, very rarely does it happen that all the stories are good. Usually some stories, like maybe 2 or 3, maybe sometimes even 1 of the stories is good and the others are just like, whatever, it's just whatever. Yeah, right. What do you guys think? Are you fans of anthologies?
Yes, I am a big fan of anthology films. I think not every story has to be stretched for 2 hours. I think if you can say it in a crisp manner, it's good.
Agreed.
Plus, I think it's good for stories that don't see the light of the day just because they can't be stretched to 2 hours. I mean, before this, I used to work in a production house. So there we had a lot of stories that would come, but they're like, isme itna content nahi hai ki hum iska kuch kar sake. So I think, but they were really good stories. So I think anthologies are a good way to bring forth something like this. Plus, they are all bite-sized. So I think it suits our attention span, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about you, Deep? Are you a fan of anthologies? Do you usually watch many anthologies, Deep?
I have watched my share of anthology movies. Not much, if I would say that, but I'm not really a fan. But if there is a good series which turns out to be an anthology, I do really give it a check out.
So you go on a movie by movie basis. I think I'm closer to that actually. Like if a movie by movie basis, if I hear a lot of people talking about a particular movie, and regardless of whether it's an anthology or not, I end up watching it.
Yeah, and, a word of mouth and a word of IMDb ratings also makes.
A word of IMDb. Okay, yeah, correct. Do you know what IMDb stands for? Just because he said IMDb. Do you guys know?
Yeah, International Movie Database, right?
Yeah,
I thought it's called I Am Dumb Boy.
Are you serious? Or are you just making that up right now?
I just made that up, bro.
Obviously made that up.
No, I thought he always thought that. Like sometimes you just go for years without thinking on a particular thing and nobody corrects you. That happens. What are there? Okay, we're gonna get to our favorite anthology movies, like the ones we like the most, right? What I want to know before we get to our favorites, are there any like anthology movies which you thought had a great idea, but then nothing happened with that, or like not enough of the anthology movies were good enough, or you thought this theme that they chose was good, like this theme of love or whatever they chose was good, but they didn't do well enough in the stories department of that. That does happen. Do you remember any such examples of movies like that?
Maybe in the old ones a little bit, but the new ones are actually fairly fantastic. I'll be honest.
Possible. Fair enough.
Last Stories was average. Sorry, Last Stories was average. If you ask me, I mean, none of them were so good.
I actually quite like Lost Stories. I didn't mind Lost Stories too much. Like I especially like dude, yeah, man, they were all good. I think who's Shekhar Kapoor is Anil Kapoor's brother.
Last Stories just was what it was called. It was all about lust and nothing else.
Yep,
yeah, but they could have done better with the stories. I mean, they could have treated it better.
That's exactly what I'm trying to tell. It's all about lust. They couldn't make a point in any of the stories.
Yeah, true. The points weren't existing enough. There wasn't like a. So I remember there was one story about this house help who is supposedly in love with her boss, basically her owner or whatever, not owner. What's the correct terminology?
The owner of the house.
Owner of the house, yes.
Bhumi Pednekar and I think Neil Bhupalam story.
Yes, correct. That's the one. And that one was very good and very well made. But again, what is the point of that particular story? I don't understand. That's true. Another one.
After that, I thought that the guy who made this story actually is watching too much of Brazzers.
Brazzers. Oh man. Okay. Guys, I'm not the only one who laughed. Jalasmi also laughed. She was just on mute when she laughed. Okay. I'm not a creep. कि वो ब्रेजल बोला रहे वाह वाह अरे मजा कर दिया दीप अरे मजा आ गया. I'm not.
Yeah, I agree. I laughed, guys. It's okay.
So yeah, it does happen then. Very often, like I remember the Darna Mana Hai and Darna Zaruri Hai movies. Like, have either of you seen those?
In bits and
I think
pieces.
Darna Zaruri Hai. I watched. Thoda
Yeah.
sa.
So in both of them, like one or two, I think they were like, I think one of them had 5 stories and the other one had 6 stories, if I'm not wrong. And in all of them, only 1 or 2 of them were good, and the others were just like, whatever. You know, I'm forgetting which one. I think the Ritesh Deshmukh one is quite nice. There is one with Amitabh Bachchan, but I'm forgetting the Amitabh Bachchan one with the Ritesh Deshmukh one. But anyway, the Amitabh Bachchan one is also quite nice. So yeah, some of the anthologies do well. So let's just get into it. Let's just talk about our favorite, because why are we talking about anthologies in general when we talk about anthologies in specific? I want to start with one of the finest movies ever made, okay, which happens to be an anthology film and happens to be my favorite movie ever made, and has won an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. If you guys can guess what this movie is, I'll give you 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess you guys can't. It's Pulp Fiction.
Oh,
Come on, I'll
yeah.
wait for the applause.
Oh,
Pulp Fiction, guys, is an anthology, and I never thought of it as an anthology before I started thinking of this episode, and then I realized, yeah, dude, it is an anthology. It is like different stories, loosely based around a theme and interconnected, and yeah, these people just go about their business. And what a movie it is, man! Pulp Fiction. Have you guys both seen Pulp? No, fair enough.
Nope.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
nope.
Okay, Deep has just hasn't. That's totally fine. But
Are we happy?
if you haven't watched this movie, I would highly recommend it. It is super entertaining. The dialogues are just a dime a dozen.
You would answer, if you are a Pulp Fiction fanatic, you would answer to that. Are we happy? Come on.
Are we happy?
John Travolta's. Oh, we happy.
Oh, okay. I mean, there are so many other quotes from that movie, dude. There's a Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead. That's a great line if you know. And then since then, Zed's dead is a musical artist, is a musical band that has come about because they were fans of Pulp Fiction, by the way. There's so many other lines, man. There's the big Kahuna Burger line. There is the what does Marcellus Wallace look like? And the guy says, what? Say what again? Say what again, mother. I dare you. I double dare you. Say what one more goddamn time and see what happens. I love that entire sequence.
Being Jackson.
Yeah, there's a whole dude in this movie. One of the first scenes in this movie is John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson's characters. That is Vincent Vega and Jules talking about foot massages, which is just such an amazing conversation about foot massages. It is a genius, dude. Quentin Tarantino.
That was out of
next level
nowhere,
writing.
but that was hilarious.
Yeah, that's hilarious, dude. They're talking about just foot massages. Oh man, I can't talk about it too much because again we have so much more to talk about. But Pulp Fiction is definitely like my favorite anthology film, hands down.
But
I would say.
I can connect a lot. I don't know if I'm making sense when I say that. I can connect a lot of Pulp Fiction with another anthology movie which I am a fan of. When I saw it, is Sin City. Has anyone watched it?
I have not, man. I have always meant to watch it, and then sometimes it just becomes in the back of my mind, and I just never end up seeing it. I mean to watch it because I know it's a comic book movie, dude, and I should definitely be watching it.
Comic book movie, and the cinematography
is amazing for sure. I've seen like clips and all. Yeah, and the star cast is great. It's wow.
Yeah, it's there is this guy Bruce Willis, and
Mickey Rourke.
There is and then the guy from Iron Man 2,
Mickey Rourke. That
guy, and then there is the guy Josh Brolin as well. He's also he's playing a protagonist, and
so Thanos was there.
Yeah. So I really like the way they have picturized it, and it's a monochrome, or maybe I don't know. The whole picture is in black and white, and some point of time when there is blood coming out, only a red color you will see of the blood or something like that. Otherwise, the whole film is in black and white color. and plus the storylining of each story really connects to each other in some or the other way. And I mean, it was such a good attempt. It was such a masterpiece. And the second part really connects with the first part so well.
Yeah.
So
Agreed,
you
man.
should really
That makes sense.
go and watch it. And I really liked how Joseph Gordon, the guy who played Robert,
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
He played his role so well. I mean, really, I like him personally in The Walk. Have you
Okay, I haven't seen The Walk.
Oh yeah,
The Walk, like walking? The Walk.
Yeah.
Is it about crossing?
He
like
walks over a rope.
Yeah.
That's a true story. Actually,
between two towers, no? Between which two buildings?
Yeah.
Between which two buildings does he walk in that movie?
It's a little blurry in my memory, but yeah,
okay,
I've been disconnected through that.
I know this. Yeah, correct. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is great, and he actually wrote and directed a movie. I don't know if you know this. It's called Don John. Okay, it's the movie is about porn addiction and about just sex and sexuality, but it's such a great understanding and such a great movie that is such a very unique movie. It also stars Scarlett Johansson and Julianne Moore, directed by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt. So yeah, another great movie to check out. This guy's great, dude. He's on Inception. He was in Inception. Just wow, dude, what a guy. He was also in Looper. So I'll just keep talking about Joseph Gordon-Levitt movies. Looper is again.
There was again Joseph and Bruce Willis both.
Bruce Willis,
Joseph. Joseph playing the younger version of
Bruce Willis,
and Bruce Willis playing the older version.
Correct.
Yeah.
Let's get to some other movies. Jalasmi, let's.
Why isn't Jalasmi talking about since she's a Bollywood fanatic?
Up top first. I know Jalasmi last week or last week, the last time she was on, recommended Ajeeb Dastans, which is another anthology movie which just came out. And,
and we also had Kayose on Cyrus.
Cyrus says, Kayose Rani and Cyrus. Yes, one of the directors from that movie, yes.
But Jalasmi,
and you really like that movie, right?
Jalasmi, you being a Bollywood fanatic, you being a crazy person for Bollywood movie, haven't you seen Ludo?
I have. So I was just waiting for y'all to, get done with all the Hollywood recommendations because there I have not seen anything.
Yeah.
Everybody knows me by now. Now I'm very desi. It's not an alien language. It's just that I don't watch English films so much. I rarely watch English films, but
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So talking about Ajeeb Dastans, have y'all seen it? Deep Antariksh?
I have not. No.
I haven't as well.
And Kayose Rani, I'm sure, is pretty offended because I told him that I would watch it. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, exactly. But no, so the film actually had really different stories. There was no specific theme. At least I did not find any specific theme. But yeah, some stories were really good. For example, there is one called Gilipuchi, which has Konkana Sen Sharma and Aditi Rao Haidari. I took that name this time.
Yeah, correct.
But,
it's Hayadri.
Okay, we both are wrong.
I think we're all wrong. I don't know either. I just, Aditi Rao, Hyadari. Yeah.
Yeah, Aditi Rao. So that's a very good film. I mean, you feel for Konkana's character, but then the way she turns around, it's something, it's very surprising. And I think one thing common across all stories is the element of surprise. Because towards the end, I mean, you think you know the story, you think you've predicted it, ki acha abhi yahi hone wala hai, and something out of the blue happens and you are like, what just happened? And it's for all the 4 stories. So I think that the name Ajeeb Dastans is, it suits all the stories. That's
so you're saying it subverts expectations, is what you're saying, right?
Yes. Yes, you cannot predict any story.
Oh yeah, awesome. That's Ajeeb Dastans. What do you guys think of Ludo? I saw Ludo. Ludo was pretty good.
Yeah,
Ludo was fun.
It was not fun, dude. I actually liked all the stories in that. Like I was saying, like there are very few anthologies where all the stories are kind of good, and this was all quite enjoyable, dude. I especially like the Abhishek Bachchan one. The Rajkumar Rao one was also good. Even the Aditya, what's his name? Aditya Roy Kapoor one was good. And what is the
I like the Rohit Saraf and that.
The South
Yeah,
The
Indian girl.
nurse
correct.
wala story.
Yeah, the nurse one. Yeah, dude, the nurse one was really good.
That
Man.
was
So fun.
Yeah.
No, it's not fun, dude. They're just like bumbling idiots, like kind of not really. But it's just like, okay, this happened. Okay, now this happened. Okay, now we have all this money. Okay, now we're running away. Okay, now it's a good times.
I
And
personally
they're
like
like,
But I can hear that.
I personally like Rajkumar Rao's story. I mean,
Yeah.
the way
Yeah.
there's this one scene where he hands over the money to his crush, and then she walks away with her husband in a car, and then just to avoid stress, he dances, and he dances like Mithun Chakrabarti.
yeah.
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 I mean, that was
Little
very
did he know Mithun would become the cobra of the BJP. Right after that.
Hey, what happened to him after the election? Haven't heard anything about
just-
him.
I just yesterday night I read that Mithun had made a comment about the violence going on in the supposed violence going on in Bengal right now, which is allegedly being.
But he didn't do many rallies. So
Yes,
he didn't do many rallies.
Actually,
I
what
guess so that
happened,
he
you know,
deserves thoda sa respect.
Actually, what happened, the day he mentioned this, the day he commented, or the day he announced that I'm a cobra, and a nearby snake whisperer was listening to it, and he just ran to the stage and just brought him into the tokri, and now he's a sapola.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
Good
that's exactly
one.
what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now Mithun is right now in the basket, and when the BJP needs him to say something good about them, so they just the basi wala start.
They just play the tune.
Snake comes out. Yeah, exactly. So that's what happens. That's Naginoni, no?
Coming back.
Ah,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Perfect. Yeah, but Ludo
coming
ka
back-
climax has to be. You have to give it to the director. The climax was too good. Not the climax where they're all trying to find that bag of money. But after that, when Pankaj Tripathi's character is completely injured, but he still, goes on in that car to woo that other lady, and whatever happens after that. I don't want to give out spoilers here, but yeah, good one.
That actually brings me to an interesting question. What kind of anthology movies do you usually prefer? Just where short story, or do you prefer one part of the story and then it blends into another story and blends into another story and it comes back to the first story, like how it is in Salame Ishq or Ludo? Like, do you prefer the Ajeeb Dastan method
I
or the
like
Ludo
short story.
Oh, okay. I actually
Ajeeb
like
Dastan method,
where
definitely.
it reads it. Okay, I like the
Yeah,
Ludo method more. Where,
I actually, because having a short story kind of a flow is actually stuttery, according to me. Because that's creating a lot of that's a lot of information for you to gather in a very short span. If you have one information which you're getting time to process, and once you have processed at least like 50 to 60% of it, and then you jump into a next story, then going back to the previous one would really make sense to you, or you wouldn't be like, okay, what was happening in this scene the other time? You won't be like that. So short story, according to me, is a very stuttery, and I really prefer a quite much detailed introduction to one story first, and before jumping into the next one. And the next story can be a little short. That's okay, because then
no. So you're saying you prefer. So you're saying you prefer the interspersed ones more. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Can you brief about it a little bit?
No, like in the sense, like, do you prefer the Ludo way of doing it, or do you prefer the Ajeeb Dastan's way of doing it?
Yeah, Ludo way was also quite. Yeah, it was quite okay. There was I couldn't at no point I was feeling like I'm going to be losing the thread of any story that I'm watching right now. So yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, I get it. Like, because I think what would happen is it's like a reset of your attention span, right? Every time something ends, then your attention span resets, and now it's up to the new short film, the new anthology, new part of the new movie in the anthology series, to then re-grab your attention. But if it's like the Ludo kind of thing, then it's all like kind of similar attention span. It's like one continuous thing. So there's no like the end is the end. Like finally, at the end of the movie.
Exactly.
There's no yeah, but of course there's no of course, yeah, but of course there's no right way or wrong way. It's just I'm trying to figure out your personal preferences. Let's get to some other ones though. There was lust stories was there. There's also ghost stories. Did you guys anyone here was ghost stories?
I I think the audience ghosted ghost stories.
Audience ghosted
Nobody
ghost stories. That's exactly what I did
watched
also.
it.
I also didn't watch it.
I've
I
only
wanted to
heard of-
watch it, but I heard that only one of the movies was good. I think the Debarka Banerjee one is what I heard was the good one, and the other was just like, no need to watch it. So we'll
Honestly,
get down to
I
that.
just know ghost stories from the fact that Kusha Kapila had a role in it. That is all I know about, because I didn't even bother to watch the trailer. I mean,
Okay.
didn't catch my fancy at all. And there were a lot of people who were saying on Twitter after the trailer that the reaction wasn't so good. So I'm like, okay, never mind. It's not going to be so good anyway. And we weren't wrong.
Yeah. Like another thing I noticed while I realized while doing research for this episode was that some anthology films do well, but what you actually remember out of them is their songs, is their music. For instance, like case in point, Salame Ishq, which had just excellent songs. The movie was quite. Actually, I actually go back and watch the movie also, so I don't mind Salame. So I actually think it is quite nice. But I know that a lot of people didn't like it, and it didn't do that well in the box office, as far as I remember. I could be wrong, but this is what I remember, that it didn't do that well. But the songs, dude, were like every single song from that movie is just so damn good. There are two title tracks, basically two renditions of Salame Ishq. Then there is the Tenu Leke Main Javanga. That's also from that
Yeah.
movie. Then
And that song you were humming before the recording.
That's
Yeah, Salam
just
Alaikum.
showing off his singing skills, actually.
Oh yeah, thanks, man. That's Deep complimenting non-singer for the non-singer singing skills. So thanks, Deep. Also, I like the Priyanka Chopra and the Akshay Khanna song. The which is that song, dude?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm forgetting the song, but
I like this one song. I don't know who was there in that song. It's called Mera Dil Dil Mera.
Mera Dil Dil Mera.
I remember that also. You're giving me
Yes,
nostalgia.
yes. That's very
Yeah, I love that song, dude. So good. Again, like I love that song. Like,
There was this another movie who had really good songs, but I don't know if it's supposed to be counted in the anthology list. Kaipoche.
no, it's not an
I've not seen
anthology,
Kaipoche,
but
no.
yeah, the songs were amazing. Amit Trivedi, of course.
Yeah. But yeah, I do have another anthology movie which really had some good songs. That's Yuva. Have you seen Yuva?
Yes. How can you forget that film?
Okay, for the audience who are listening us and not seeing us, Jalasmi got so excited that she froze.
Oh yeah. I've not seen Yuva, man. Have both of you seen Yuva?
I've seen
Yeah, I
half.
have.
Okay, cool. I've seen half of Yuva. Okay, but of course the songs are great, dude. Isn't this song? Oh,
That's A.R. Rahman, bro. Yeah.
Fana.
Yeah.
Fana.
The title track itself is very catchy.
Yeah, dude, great songs. Yeah,
But
Yuva really does have. good songs.
I love Kabhi Neem Kabhi Shahad. I mean, I've been trying to sing that song also. It's a little difficult, but it's so
I don't know that song. What is that song?
Kabhi
What's that song?
Neem Kabhi Shahad. How can you not know this
yes.
song? Yeah.
Okay, I know the song. Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
I'll just
And there's
listen
one
to
more,
it.
Anjana Anjani, Vivek Oberoi and Kareena Kapoor wala song. They are having fun on the beach.
I only know Anjana.
Hey, Khuda Hafiz.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
No, but yeah, these two songs, if I'm sure people would know, they are so
And
good.
we slowly segue into Antakshari with IVM.
We should totally
Yeah,
do
exactly.
that. I would love it.
Dude, that'll be great actually. We should actually do an episode of Antakshari. I'm gonna write this down.
Why am I
We're
not
doing
asking for royalty? I gave Vinay his podcast, Vinya Ki Dunya. I'm giving IVM a new podcast, Antakshari with IVM. I should be getting a raise.
Yeah, cool. Talk to Ahmed, man.
Okay.
Go ahead. Okay, so also another anthology film with great songs is Life in a Metro. You
Yes.
guys, I don't know if you've seen that, but
Yes.
so it has like great songs. It has in Dino Dil Mera. Then it has Bhigi Bhigi Si Hai Yaad, Bhigi Bhigi Yaad.
Yeah.
That's gangster.
You know,
That's gangster,
what
right?
I feel is back in the
that's
day when they
gangster.
made anthologies,
Wait, is that gangster? Bhigi Bhigi Si Hai Yaad?
Yeah,
No,
that's gangster.
Oh yeah, wait, it's gangster.
That's
which is
Shiny Ahuja and the girl who got her Twitter account suspended.
Kangana Ranaut. Yes, correct. No, but then which of the song was that, dude? What am I thinking of? Oh Meri Jaan was that? Oh Meri
Yes.
Jaan. Ooh. Yep, that's good. Baatein kuch. Okay, Baatein kuch kahin si. That was also good.
But what I feel is back in the day, these had original soundtracks like OST albums. But I think the anthologies that are releasing now, they're all going directly on OTT streaming platforms. So I guess the recognition that their music albums should get, they're not getting it.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
Like Ludo ke gaane chalo thode popular hue, we know Hardam Hamdam and all of those, but there were songs
that old song. This is an old song,
but not really.
That's really catchy.
Yeah. That song got a lot of popularity, and people got to know about that song after.
Dude,
Ludo
same. I've never heard that song.
Yeah.
I've never heard that song, but it's so damn catchy, dude.
I have.
And they use it very well in the film. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a friend who has that song as his ringtone.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, quite possible.
No, that makes sense. Okay, yeah. So, I want to get to some more.
There was one more.
Hollywood. Yeah.
Wait. Let me.
Yeah.
There are some more good Bollywood anthology films. Have you watched Unpaused on Amazon?
I've heard it's good. Is it really good?
It's good. Yeah, it's all about the lockdown and how 4 different stories from how people had it was basically lockdown story. So
is it like shot over Zoom or something?
No. It was shot the way it should be, but it's just that they were lockdown stories. Like for example, there's Ratna Patak Shah's story where she is very scared to go and even buy medicines, but she has to, and she lives alone. She's unmarried. She has a twin who lives somewhere else, and she befriends a rickshaw wala. She's hesitant to take an auto, but then she has to, and that auto wala guy is one of those good Samaritans who helps her out, and then it's not a friendship, but they develop a bond, and then it's a story about that. Then there is one story where there is I wouldn't say, there's a migrant couple who are living in the sample flat of a high rise, and the lady, she does a TikTok, and people come to know that she's living in a sample flat of a high rise, but she's not supposed to do that. And then they unfortunately get evicted. But there are some really heartwarming stories from the lockdown that they've brought together. I think it's very interesting.
Okay. Wow.
And there is one called Zindagi in Shorts on Netflix. I don't know if y'all have seen it, but again, that's not an anthology. I think that is a series of different episodes with different stories. So it's like an anthology series, not film, but too good. Some stories are too good. I think everybody should definitely watch it.
What is the name of this one again? Unpaused was the last one. And what was the last one again?
Zindagi Unpaused and Zindagi in Shorts. And because I am a huge fan of South Indian films, I have to recommend a few South Indian anthologies also. So if Unpaused is like the Bollywood version of lockdown stories, there is one called Puttam Pudu Kalai. I hope I pronounced that right. But again, these are also lockdown stories from the South. Again, they are very heartfelt, they are very beautiful, and I think everybody should catch them. Then there are some dark films. One is called Pava Kadaigal. Again, it's not lockdown stories, but it's about, it's a dark anthology drama film. So it explores pride, honor, and, some very complicated relationships.
Okay, wow.
And there is one, because shout out to all the Dulquer Salman fans, if you are. There is one anthology called Solo. Now, it is directed by, if you all know, this guy, Bijoy Nambiar.
I've heard the name, yes.
Yes, so he has directed this film where these are 4 stories depicting 4 different Shiva ke 4 alag group, something like that. Or let's just say it's around, each story revolves around 4 elements. So earth, fire, wind, and water, each with the facets of Lord Shiva.
Okay, cool. Oh, dude.
So I think
Vijay
that one
Nambiar
is
made
also
Shaitan.
beautiful.
Of course I know Vijay Nambiar, dude. He made Shaitan.
Yeah.
Dude, Shaitan is such an epic movie. Yeah. Not anthology, so we're not talking about this
Not an
on this
anthology,
episode,
but yeah.
yeah, but fantastic, dude. What a great movie. Koya Cha. Yeah, that became popular through that. Let's just. I have like a couple of more Hollywood films that I want to get back to before we end this episode. There is a movie called I'm Not There. Okay, it's a movie about a movie about like 5 different actors playing Bob Dylan at different points in his life. Okay, do you guys know Bob Dylan? Right, Bob Dylan is just a musical legend, and just amazing stories and what a life he's lived. He used to a lot of his songs used to be about like revolution and revolt and being peaceful and being like a pacifist and against war, anti-war, and all that. And very influential in musical history. Bob Dylan has been. So in this movie, I'm Not There. It talks about basically going through different points of his life, and in each of these points in his life, he's played by a different prominent as hell actor. For instance, Heath Ledger plays him in one point. So this is a 2007 movie. So Heath Ledger was alive then. So Heath Ledger has played him in one part. Heath Ledger is Bob Dylan. In another part, Christian Bale again. So Heath Ledger and Christian Bale together in a movie. Christian Bale plays Bob Dylan. Richard Gere is there. In one of the stories, Kate Blanchett plays Bob Dylan. Kate Blanchett is an actress, so all you guys know, and she plays Bob Dylan at a point in his life. And then like some great stories, some great moments, some great talk about being an artist and the artist's mind. I remember the scene. So I don't know if you guys know this. We all know the Beatles, obviously, right? One of the greatest music bands in musical history. Do we know the Beatles? Okay, I'm just gonna assume we know the Beatles. And the Beatles, they say that the first time they ever smoked pot, whatever, a joint, a marijuana joint, was because of Bob Dylan. And this is what the Beatles have always said, that Bob Dylan made them smoke their first joint. Which is just, oh man, like if anyone is a fan of one or the both of them, that's such a big deal, dude, to music. This is like amazing. This is amazing news. I love that fact. And so yeah, I'm Not There with Bob Dylan. About the life and times of Bob Dylan. Great movie. Another one is a movie called Coffee and Cigarettes. Have you heard of Coffee and Cigarettes? It's basically a movie about it's based in one diner, okay? And it's just conversations between different people. So it's usually all the conversations are like between 2 people. I think one of the conversations between 3 people. Okay, but they're all just conversations, and that's it. It's an anthology movie about different conversations. Okay, and these conversations might be about the most ridiculous, pointless things ever. Like I remember one of them. One of the conversations is about cigarettes or something, and it was like, yeah, it's a movie about coffee and cigarettes, and we're just talking about cigarettes, and that's it. So, but greatly done. The dialogues are great. The writing is impeccable. Like what they're talking about. The acting is obviously good. I'll tell you who all is in that movie. I know Steve Coogan, the British actor, is there in the movie. Then I'll just tell you who else. Coffee. Yeah. So Steve Coogan is there. Who else, dude? Kate Blanchett is there in this one also. Okay. Wow. Okay. Anyway, for some reason, Wikipedia, IMDb is not showing me their names, but yeah, go check this out. It's very, very good movie. Wait, I'll tell you, man. Bill Murray, of course, dude. Bill Murray is there. Tom Waits, Stephen Wright, the comedian. Iggy Pop is there. Steve Buscemi is there. Again, some great names, dude. Wow. That guy, that Marlena guy is there. What's his name? I'm forgetting. Bill Murray, obviously. What's that Marlena guy's name, dude? I'm forgetting. Anyway, great actors. Point is, go watch this movie if you want. It's called Coffee and Cigarettes. And the last thing I want to talk about is basically a combination of 2 movies because they are very similar. It's very possible that they're even directed by the same person. I'll just quickly check if I can. But the movies are Love Actually and Valentine's Day. Have you guys both? You must have at least heard of these movies.
Oh yes,
Right?
I've watched Valentine's Day. I don't know why, but yeah, I have.
Oh God, you watched a Hollywood movie. You Deshdrohi. You Gaddar. Gaddar. dude. Shit.
Deshdrohi, it seems.
Yeah, I no longer respect you. I thought you were a purist, Jalasmi. How does this happen? Please tell me you watched it dubbed in Hindi.
No. Hey, hello, please. I watched it in English. ठीक है, बड़े-बड़े शहरों में ऐसी छोटी-छोटी बातें होती रहती है.
Yeah. So again, both of these movies are about just basically like love stories. And Valentine's Day. One second. I just want to find out if they both have the same director. That's what I want to do. 1 second. Because they seem like they're very similar vibes. No, they don't have the same director, so forgive me for trying. But Valentine's Day is not that well rated. Love Actually is slightly better rated. But I would say Love Actually is a better film for me. But the other one also, like if you want to just have a good watch, why not? Love Actually stars Hugh Grant, Keira Knightley, Colin Firth is there, Emma Thompson, Liam Neeson, Alan Rickman. Just full on star power. I remember Rowan Atkinson is there in one of the stories, which is great. Martin Freeman is there. Just wow, dude. So yeah, go check out something fun. Love Actually and Valentine's Day. All right. Anything else that we missed that you guys want to talk about before we wrap this up? I'm sure there are movies that we missed. Like I remember there was a Sanjay Dutt movie called Das Kahaniyan, right? Which is
There was
supposed to be
also-
not great.
I remember there was Care of Kancherapalem. I think it's also another South Indian film that I think everybody should watch. They've got great stories. And I don't know if
Okay.
Super Deluxe is an anthology, but yeah, I think it's the Ludo kind of anthology where there are many different stories together.
Interspersed,
But
okay, huh.
That's good too, yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Deep, any last parting words? You can compliment my singing again if you want. I don't mind.
Yeah, right. I hear you next time. I will compliment you.
Okay. Thank you so much, man. That's very nice coming from a musician. Because you know your shit. So that's always good to know. Like I remember randomly, like last week, I was just humming something. And Dave goes, dude, you know you can sing, right? And I know I can sing.
Actually, you
but
can
I
sing.
actually went, oh, you know, man, I can just hold a tune.
I get that. That's your way
Yeah.
to take out compliments from people. Yeah, I get that.
Exactly. Yeah. I just show my people my talent, man. I don't wait for it. That's what I do.
But yeah,
So-
bro, you do really sing well.
Oh man, that's too kind.
You can put
I
a
was
baby to
just-
sleep easily.
है ना? Okay, see, that's awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Jalasmi, Deep. Jalasmi, where can people follow you online?
It's Atika Bacha on Instagram.
All right, and Deep.
It's you can follow me on so deep at Instagram.
All right.
None
And,
of us, we all have private accounts, so I don't know if this even works.
Deep doesn't have a private account. Do you, Deep?
I do.
Aisa hai kya?
Okay. No, my account is not private. Please follow me. I'm Antariksh on Instagram. And
Because
Antariksh
you're the
Track on TikTok.
popular one. You're a comedian.
Wait. Why? I'm sure Deep is more popular than me, man. But
Please,
why
nobody
is your
listens
account
to my
private?
music anymore.
I do.
Why is your account private? If I can quickly ask before we end this.
I don't know.
Jalasmi,
I've always been very protective about my stuff, I guess. And dude, the amount of random requests I get every day, I'm like, nahi se to private hi acha hai. At least I know who are following me, and I know my audience. You know.
Okay, fair enough. Take it. That's fair. I just keep it open because I just want as many people to find me as they can. And up till now, only 800 people have found me. So getting there. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Deep, Jalasmi, love you both. See you guys soon. And to the audience, please tell us what you think about these anthology films, and if any we missed out that you would like to talk about on a future episode that we can probably get to. And check out our recommendations from the first half of this episode. Tell us how you like it. Thank you so much. See you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
How many times have you motivated yourself to improve your sleep, or lose weight, or be more productive? How many times have you failed? Hi, my name is Ashton Doctor. Tune into my show, The Habit Coach Podcast, where we focus on creating small, tiny habits to improve your life instead of those big, impossible tasks. So make listening to me a habit every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com or on your favorite podcasting app.
Hi, I'm DJ, one of the presenters of the Edges and Sledges cricket podcast. I'm based in London and host the podcast along with my friend from school, Varun, who's based in Singapore, and his brother Ashwin, who's based in the US. We've all been massive fans of Indian cricket all our lives, and despite living in 3 different time zones and having pretty busy professional lives, we decided to start our own cricket podcast in March 2018. After putting out 59 episodes on our own, we were delighted to join IVM in May 2019, becoming the first pre-existing podcast to be picked up by India's largest podcast network. We've chatted with some awesome people, had some fantastic cricketing conversations along the way. But the main reason we do this every week is to have fun discussing the same cricket topics and issues that you guys are talking about every day in your living rooms. We're fans, not experts, so expect us to be honest. We really hope you decide to join us every week on the podcast.